Between the pages of a book is indeed a lovely place to be. So, let's discuss all the books that I have in my crossword tote bag. Welcome to another weekend afternoon where we talk about books. I've been in love with this tote bag ever since I got it a few months back, and I carry it almost everywhere. Today, we are going to do a book haul of all the books that I've collected in the past few months since December, because I went to a book fair in December and then I went to Crossword a number of times and other book fairs from where I collected secondhand books. So this haul has a collection of pre-loved, secondhand, thrifted, and completely new books too. To be completely honest with you, I have a book in this collection which I got yesterday itself. I'm just gonna keep this in my lap and pull out books from here. So the first book that I got was from a book festival, but it is also from Crossword because Crossword had set up a store at the book festival. So this tote bag and this book both I got from there, and the book is Roman Stories by Jhumpa Lahiri. I love Jhumpa Lahiri. I've been a big fan of Jhumpa Lahiri since I read The Namesake like 2-3 years ago. And the main aspect of Jhumpa Lahiri's stories is writing about immigrants and mostly about Bengali immigrants. Being a Bengali kid who was raised outside of Kolkata and West Bengal, I love her stories because I relate to them so much, given that her stories are about Bengali immigrants being raised outside of India altogether. But there are certain aspects in her books that I relate to a lot, and The Namesake has been one of my favorites for the past 2 years, and I still can't get over that story. The Namesake is also a movie, so if you wish to watch the movie first, go ahead and watch it. Namesake, the movie, stars Tabu and Irfan Khan, so you know it's a pretty good story. And then I read Interpreter of Maladies by Jhumpa Lahiri, and she just became one of my favorite authors of all time since then. At the book festival, I was actually looking to buy Whereabouts by Jhumpa Lahiri, but I couldn't find a copy of that. But the store manager did direct me to Roman Stories, which is again a recent release, and this is a collection of short stories which I'm looking forward to read. This is a hardcover and she's thick, so obviously I'm very excited to read it. But also, if I remove the dust jacket, it's got this really subtle bluish grayish color and it's so pretty. Even the writing on the spine has got a silver lettering and it is so beautiful that I just had to get this hardcover, even though it did cost a lot. Jhumpa Lahiri has never disappointed, so I know I'm going to love this one too. But it's only a matter of time till I get to reading this book. So the next book that I got is also from the same book festival that I went to in the month of December, and this one is a non-fiction called Rich Dad Poor Dad. Obviously you know about this book, you have seen this all over internet, but I have not come around to reading this. Rich Dad Poor Dad is a personal finance book written by Robert Kiyosaki. I don't know if I'm going to read this book anytime soon or anytime ever, because recently I read a lot of articles about the author himself going bankrupt, and considering this is not a fiction book, I don't know if I should read it. I did read a few pages of the book a few years ago and I liked the concept, but honestly I'm too skeptical about reading this now. So maybe when I run out of books to read, or when I feel like reading non-fiction personal finance books again, I'll pick this up. The next one that I got is again from the same festival that I went to in the month of December, and this one is The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. This is a second-hand book. I don't know if it's ever been read, but it's definitely a pre-owned book considering it. The pages are yellowed, and yeah, I got it from a second-hand bookstall. So it is a second-hand book. While it's in a pretty good condition and it's a mystery thriller and it's pretty famous, I don't know when I'm going to get to reading this book, because I watched the movie a few weeks ago, and I watched the Indian version of this movie that stars Pariniti Chopra and Aditi Rao Hydari, but the movie turned out to be pretty good, honestly. I know there are many bad reviews, but I liked the movie, but because I've already watched the movie, I know what is going to happen in this book, and it's pretty depressing, and I'm not in the mood to be depressed right now. Don't get me wrong, I do want to read mystery and thrillers, but I'm not in the mood to read dark, depressing mystery and thrillers. So, yeah, I'll probably get to this later down the year, maybe after June or July. So, yeah, till then, this one is going to rest on my bookshelf. Next book I'm actually quite excited to show you, not because it's a very famous book, but because it's pre-loved in every sense of the word. It's Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling, of course. So, let me give you a little backstory. I have never been a Potterhead, and I only read the first book, that is Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, when I was in 10th standard, and now I am 22. So it's been a very long gap. All my book friends would always recommend that book to me so that we could talk about being a Potterhead and relate to the whole cult. I never really related to any of it. So I will admit the first book was amazing. It really sucked you in. But I never found myself reaching out for the second book. However, now I kind of feel left out and I want to start reading the Harry Potter series again. So I thought, why not just get a second-hand pre-loved book to test the waters again and see if I really like it. And if I do, maybe then I'll go ahead and get a box set. But till then, I decided to get a second-hand pre-loved version, and it's this one. It's a pretty old version, but look at this. While getting this book, I did not see the insides, but it has been stamped all over with April hearts, and that's not just it. It has the name James all over the first page. So, hi James, thank you for sending your book to the fair. I received your book and I am going to read it, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to love it. So, yeah, pre loved in every sense. However, James did not annotate the book, and the rest of the pages are squeaky clean. And the book is in intact condition. The spine is a little tattered, but that's only because it's a very old book. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and read this book as soon as possible. I know a lot of people get disturbed when their books are inked in such manner, but I found this so entertaining, especially because while getting my hands on this book, I did not see the insides. I thought, it was pre-checked and that's why they were selling it, and I was in a hurry. But once I got home and checked, I found these cute stamps and the names all over the front few pages. And I was not irritated. I was actually laughing because it's just very cute. Okay, now the next book that I got was actually from a different book fair that I went to, and I only picked this up because I read about this author in another book that I was reading, that is Best Intentions by Simran, and there the protagonist was a reader, and this author was a favorite of hers while growing up, and of course I've heard a lot about this author while growing up myself. So yeah, the next book is A Damsel in Distress by P.G. Wodehouse. I don't know anything about this book. I picked this book up because look at the cover, it seems very interesting. Let's read the summary for the first time. It says,
Lady Maud, the spirited young daughter of the Earl of Marshmoreton, is confined to her home, Belford Castle in Hampshire, under aunt's orders because of an unfortunate infatuation. Enter our hero, George Bevan, an American who writes songs for musicals and is so smitten with Maud that he descends on Hampshire's rolling acres to see off his rival and claim her heart. That's a very long sentence. Anyways, meanwhile, in the great Wodehousian tradition, the Earl of Marshmoreton just wants a quiet life, pottering in his garden, who doesn't, supported by his portly butler Keggs and free from the demands of his bossy sister and his silly-ass son.
in a sunny story which involves chorus girls, the theatre, and a ball at the castle during a 2-week house party, Wodehouse deftly unties all the knots which he had so cleverly tied around his characters in the first place. This does seem like a children's fiction, but it is also very interesting, so yeah, I'm going to read it. The last book that I have in this haul is actually a book that I got yesterday itself, and It's again by Jhumpa Lahiri. It's Unaccustomed Earth. The summary says that the stories of Unaccustomed Earth focus on second generation immigrants making and remaking lives, loves, and identities in England and America. We follow brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers, friends and lovers in stories that take us from Boston and London to Bombay and Calcutta. So, yeah, this is going to be very interesting, and I'm going to jump right into this book after this video is done. I really need to cleanse my palate after all the TikTok recommendations that I have been reading lately. One of my favorite authors, that is Khaled Hosseini, has also given his comments on this book, and it says Lahiri's enormous gifts as a storyteller are on full display. So obviously I'm going to trust Khaled Hosseini on this, and I'm going to trust Jhumpa Lahiri on this, and I'm going to read this book next. From the summary, it feels like this is also going to be a collection of short stories about immigrants, Bengali immigrants to be specific, going to Europe or the US or any other country, growing up there, raising kids there, and yeah, navigating through life in general. So my tote bag is empty now, and those are all the new books that I have in my TBR that I haven't read yet. Of course, there were books that I got recently, but I've already read them, so it did not make sense to me to show you those books. As always, I'll link the books in the description, so if you're up for it, maybe we can do a read along where we read the books together and discuss about it. These were all the books that I spoke about in this haul. Let me know if you've read any of them and which one out of these you would recommend. Also, if our reading tastes match, please be sure to comment this emoji so that I know that we can be book besties. My current read is a non-fiction finally, and it is Dopamine Detox by Thibaut Muris. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing the name correctly, but it's this book, and it's a pretty short book. So yeah, let's hope my screen time reduces after that and my screen time gets converted into reading time instead. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.